starting to the top right for Team MVP. Already down one map, it is.
MVP DongRaeGu.
Cancelled one of his eggs here.
Yep.
That's
Lose a larva.
Yeah, that's always annoying early on if you lose a larva to that. At the bottom left, we have his opponent here on Daybreak in our Zerg mirror match. Starting, of course, for Team FX Open.
FXO, Leenock.
Yeah, you know, if he accidentally canceled that, I think it would have been better for him to just do the 10 Overlord like Leenock was doing.
Yeah.
Go Oilers! Hi, Mom. I ate vegetables today.
Well, we're proud of you.
I'm very proud of you. I just wonder what vegetables she ate. Because I hope she didn't eat Brussels sprouts. Because I would feel very sorry for her. But if she ate, you know, kimchi, for example, or if she somehow found some good broccoli or green beans in Korea, that would be very good. Lima beans, on the other hand...
There's nothing in Korea that you can eat that doesn't have any kind of vegetables in them. I mean, even bingsu has beans.
Hold on. Yeah, what if you just eat, you know, Korean barbecue and you don't eat any of the side vegetables there?
Even with Korean barbecue, you have the options to go for the vegetables.
You have the options, but she could have said no. I mean, it's a bit too early to eat that kind of food today anyways, but...
She probably just had bingsu and was like, okay, well, it's not really hot today, but still that stuff is so delicious, and there's red beans in it as well, that count as vegetables. Check mark.
Check mark, check it off.
Yeah. Well, right now, heading into the game, we have exactly the same build orders by both players. So they're going for exactly the same style. We have them here with the expansion after the pool. And the timings are, of course, exactly the same. And ZVZ has been evolving a bit these days. Yeah. Especially after the last patch where Blizzard was trying to put a stop to the Mutalisk battles.
Exactly. Sport Crawler does bonus damage to biological. I think one of only 2 attacks I can do that. The second one being the Archon, which can do bonus damage to biological units. I think that's the only 2.
You know, the one problem that you have with the Sport Crawlers is really that they can 3-shot a Mutalisk right now, which is kind of insane. So the map control is, of course, if you decide to go into Mutalisks, you will still have the map control. And if you can use that to keep your opponent in low economy and deny a 3rd base, maybe if he goes into a long game, deny a 4th, they are really helpful. But the player with the Spore Crawlers, he can transition out of it. It's a little bit easier to pull that off. And there are so many things that you can do. Even if you want to take this 3rd base, what you can do is send an Overlord over, just drop the creep, and then go, like, position the Spore Crawlers that you build at your natural early on. So a lot of ways of how you could play this, but what dominates the matchup right now is a very aggressive early game with Zerglings, where we usually have heavily upgraded ones with +1/+1.
Yeah.
So we might see the double Evo coming up very soon for both players, but of course right now Baneling Nest should also pop up quite soon, and there it is already for Leenock, trying to get a bit of an upper hand here. Can use it as a passive thing just to be safe if DRG decides to pull a Hyun here and goes for a very aggressive Zergling timing, which is quite unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the placements here for both players. Baneling Nests are almost identical as well. And this is just how ZVZ is played. If your opponent has 2 hatcheries, you need a Baneling Nest. That's just the rules.
You know what always surprised me a little bit when we have fans in the studio that hold up signs like this? Basically means that their moms and dads are actually watching StarCraft, which is really awesome.
Yeah, I like that. I was actually going to mention that earlier. You know, it's more important that, you know, mom's watching StarCraft. Mom got her daily StarCraft is more important than, you know, that girl got her daily vegetables.
That's a pretty cool mom, if you ask me.
Yeah, cool mom.
Here come the Zerglings, and quite a few of them for Leenock. And DRG, he has his own Baneling Nest, so as long as he's going to make sure... Ah, nice block here at the ramp too.
That was sick, that block.
Really well done.
See, this is something that Leenock messes up. The Lings actually get past him.
And the thing is that DRG has the extra Spine Crawler, so he knows... DRG knows what's coming up. He knows that his defense should be good enough to hold this. And Leenock is really committing to this. He's building another 20 Zerglings now.
Even baited his Lings back for just a second there. You know, every little thing that DRG is doing right now is brilliant. He's really playing the better game right now.
DRG is getting so many Spine Crawlers. He's building 2 additional ones now.
Yeah, extra Queens coming out as well, because he knows he's going to need not only the DPS, but the transfuses.
Yeah, and Leenock is already starting to just drone up behind this. DongRaeGu has to be careful that he doesn't overcommit to his defense here. Getting a lot of Banelings too.
Yep. And the Queens, you know, doing some decent damage here, but the Baneling hits on the spine are good.
Really good hits. Nice Baneling hits here. Amazing. And all those Spine Calls doing just so much damage. There is no way for the Leenock to break through here.
Yeah, absolutely not. He's trying to get into the main base, but a good Baneling detonation.
Oh, he catapults the corpses of the Zerglings to the left. I love the new physics that we have.
Yeah. Well, Leenock is catapulted out of this game potentially after this defense. I mean, he's not completely dead, but he's put himself in a very, very rough position where now he has to be the one who uncomfortably transitions, whereas DRG sitting, he's saying, I've got the Ling presence on the map, I'm going to deny your third, I've got the spines for counterattacks.
Exactly, that's the problem. The Ling presence on the map right now, the better army that we have for DRG. If he doesn't lose it to Bailings here, he can use them to just deny a third base for a little bit longer. Because in Harvesters, they are still very much the same. There's just a slight difference between the two of them. Oh, that might change now with all those Lings trying to take down Harvesters, but the Bailing hit is amazing for Leenock.
I wish I could click on that Bailing and tell you how many kills it got, but that was a lot. And 2 more Bailings actually getting into the main here.
Yeah, but they are not doing too much damage. Nice split here by Leenock, but still, that completely equalized the game right now.
Yeah.
DRG has the better bank though, and he well uses it now to get his Spire, but you can still see that, especially in the minerals, he is a bit ahead.
Oh, he misclicked his drones next to the extractor. Now he notices, but he still lost a little bit of time there.
Yeah, but you know, actually him realizing it was so important. If you don't see that, then you might lose the game because of it. Yeah. Gas is so important. That's why we always talk about the third base when we're talking about ZVZ, because you need the 5th and the 6th gas.
Here's some Overlord spread that we talked about earlier. Leenock, DRG knows that he lost his map control with those Lings, so he wants to move the Spinecrawler over here as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's not the Spore Crawlers that we were expecting against Mutalisks, but it's the Spinecrawler that he moves here, and it's a really smart choice. Nice busting, of course, or trying to bust here the Spine, but that doesn't really happen, and DRG now has the units there to help out, to just make sure that there are no additional Banelings, doing a really good job with his defense.
Yeah, and this is actually going to be helped. Nicely done. Some of the Bailing detonations we saw from Leenock, they're not the best, and that definitely did not help him at all. Spire, relatively evenly timed for both players.
You know, I actually feel that DRG played a little bit too greedy earlier. He had an amazing defense against Leenock's early aggression, and Leenock really was in trouble after that. But DongRaeGu tried, he wanted too much. He wanted to go in and take down Harvesters and just trying to control the map and controlling the third base, establishing his own. And now suddenly Leenock is not only on par with him, but he's in the main base with Zerglings and can do damage, can maybe even take out a Queen here.
Yeah, he does not go for the Spire at the natural. I feel if he had known it was there, he could have tried to snipe it. But in this case, he's barely not getting the Queen.
Both players are going into the Mutalisks here, so we don't see this play that we expected with heavily upgraded Zerglings in the early stages, but we have both of them heading into Mutalisks, trying to dominate the map with their play, and I wonder who's going to be the one who is going into Spore Crawlers first. It's always the question. When you realize you are behind in Mutalisks, that's when you want to transition out of them. But before that happens, you are very reluctant to make this switch, because it will put you behind in terms of map control. You are the one who has to suddenly invest minerals into Spore Crawlers and your economy. So that's going to be an interesting timing.
Leenock, by the way, very behind in gas because he took his extractors as third base so late. So the Mutalisk count's starting to get better and better for DRG, who's had those extractors up for much, much longer. And he wants to protect every Overlord, because if he gets supply block, that affects him not only for the minerals, but the larva as well, and the time that he loses to build those Mutalisks.
Yeah. Leenock is a little bit ahead in terms of workers. So many Overlords, by the way, killed by DRG here.
Yeah. And he's very much behind the Mutalisk count right now, 14 to 10.
Yeah, Leenock is always supply blocked the entire time. Look how heavily he's supply blocked at that. He's building 4 Overlords now, but here comes an attack at the third base. Once again, Lings and Banelings moving in, taking down Harvesters, and this is horrible for Leenock. He's losing so much gas here.
Yeah, so much. And oh no, Queen going down here as well.
This is atrocious for Leenock. So much mining time lost at the 2 extractors. This will give DRG quite the lead in the Mutalisk count. Yeah. Leenock is potentially the one that has to cut his losses and transition out of the Mutalisk play. But for now, he's at least getting a few hits off at DRG's Mutalisk front.
Yeah, that was really nice. Now he's actually splitting and getting a little bit of an arc. As you can see here, that arc allows the lead Mutalisk to get the first shot and bounce in, so he can pick up 1 or 2 mutas at a time. That was really good for Leenock.
DRG didn't want to fight there. He realized that there was already an armor upgrade for Leenock, and he knew that it was really just gambling a bit too much trying to take this fight. So Leenock getting the better end of this trade, and now trying to equalize the score once again a bit. DRG immediately, Leenock heading into the +1 attack upgrade, but the same is also true for his opponent.
Yeah. You know, this is definitely a a game it's hard to say who's really going to get the edge, because right now it's just kind of these little skirmishes around the middle of the map. Neither player able to do too much damage. One thing to note is that DRG's mining minerals and gas at their base, whereas Leenock is not right now.
This is a bit of game of chicken. None of those players wants to go into the Spore Crawlers now and wants to head into a transition. Both of them just want to dominate the skies, and they still have the Zerglings on the ground to take down the potential third base. If there is an opening. But right now we have the Mutalisk count is exactly the same. But those Lings are really whittling away at the hit points of the third base of Leenock.
Yeah, he barely saves it. And Leenock is trying to actually fight these Overlords. It's hard to say who's going to win this fight. The Mutalisk count basically dead, even 25-20 actually. Leenock gets ahead.
He gets ahead here and he has the extra glaives, but the reinforcements for DRG are moving in. This is such a close fight, and Leenock is the one who chickens out first, moves to the left side and tries just to move away. He still has a lead in the Harvesters. He has the better economy here, but it's in the end, of course, all about the gas.
Yeah, and he has the better Mutalisk count still. He ran away because of those reinforcements you're talking about. He knew he could trade up until that moment, and he was like, all right, if 4 or 5 more Mutalisks just pop out suddenly, I could lose everything, so I got to get out of here. Turned around at the right moment, and now he wants to counterattack again.
Both players refusing transition at all. They're still going for the Mutalisks here and really trying to go strong. DRG has that extra Spore Crawl at the third, which will help him a lot against the Mutalisk, but there's none in the main base. And once again, we have another battle between the two of them. The Mutalisk numbers are really similar at this point. We have a slight edge for Leenock. He's trying to make this happen. The attack upgrade is not done for either one of them.
Yeah, again, though, those reinforcements for DRG buying him a little bit more time, and Leenock has to turn around until his reinforcements arrive. But during all of this, a huge run by Leenock. DRG's starting to fall apart a little bit in this game.
He's losing a lot of supply at this point. He's now down 30 supply, and especially in the Harvester account, he is way behind his opponent. There's no mining going on at the third base, and once again the Mutalisks come into the main.
Oh, goes right for that extractor. Right for the extractor, doing so much damage there. Hits one of the spawning Mutalisks coming out as well. Leenock taking a 40 supply lead, and DRG is down and out, I feel, in this game. There's just not much of anything he can do to recover. He needs a miracle or something.
Yeah, he needs a big miracle at that, and I don't think that he can pull this off. Even if he now tries to just completely go passive and build spines and spores, he won't be able to change things, especially since he doesn't have the minerals to pull this off. Both of them were stucking it out with the Mutalisk, and DRG loses once again and is now 0-2 in the group.
Yeah, GG's out there, and this is rough for DRG. He has to hope for a tiebreaker, as you mentioned before now, and that's... You know, in a 6-player group, going 0-2 is much easier to escape from than in a 5-player group.
Things are not looking good for DongRaeGu, the final boss, as he was once called. I feel now we have to try and kind of change his name into the first victim.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of advantages in that game, but he threw them all away, especially when he got greedy with that Ling counterattack. That huge advantage he had with having Lings on the map would have denied that third base for so long, but instead he got greedy. He was like, maybe I can kill some queens and kill a bunch of drones too. Yeah. Did not work out. That one Baneling hit for Leenock turned the game around. Exactly.
Leenock taking the game now and being 1-0 in the group. So currently, if we look at the standings, we have Bunny, Maru, and Leenock winning their first game. DRG losing 2 matches, and Ruin losing, of course, 1 game as well. So a very good start for the first 3 players that we just named. Now looking into the next set of games, we are going to have Bunny versus Ruin. We have Maru versus Leenock, which should be a really good game. Very important for both of them since they won the first match. And we also have then DRG versus Ruin as the last game of the next set. And for DRG, he has to take this. If he loses to Ruin, he can kiss his chances finally goodbye. Before we go into the next game, we have, of course, a 5-minute break, and once we are back, we are heading into the next set of games here at the first up and down group at the GSL. See you guys in a few.